Nice to see everybody again. I think just about everybody I've met before. Robert Merrill, Director of Partner Enablement at Elements, and Brooke will be joining us in a minute. And he's the Senior Manager of Partner Success, but also has taken on another role as kind of a thought leader on the product development side. So he's going to have more hands-on and participate in actual the roadmap and direction that we're going with our features, our new features, and the strategy and how we're kind of pivoting towards an Agentforce first metadata analysis and design. And of course, the lovely Jemima is helping us with not only the logistics and putting the materials together, but we'll talk about where we are in the world. So today's theme, how to overcome complex CPQ configurations. So one of the newest things that we released or are about to release I would say by May 1st. I think the latest date was April 23rd is when this will be released. It's something that we spoke about in the past, but we've made tremendous progress with really taking a deep dive and exploring not only the metadata, but expanding our app that you install um, on the Salesforce org that allows you to actually, I would say, explore the pricing configuration in real time. And it's going to be, it is pretty cool. And we'll show you that today. And agenda. So it's going to be a quick meeting. Like I said, 30 minutes. So we have about 25 minutes left. We're going to go through where we're going to be in the world. So hopefully you can join us or come and participate in some of the events where we're going to be. Then we'll talk about CPQ. And then if we have time, I will also talk about another new feature called process configuration mining, which I mentioned last monthly training session. And I could take a little deeper dive and answer questions, but that beta, we will have a beta release. So if you want to participate in that, you'll have to request, and that will also be released within a few weeks, I would say by May 1st. But that's we consider something that's like game changer, and that's where we can draw process diagrams from the org metadata. So it's pretty magical. So that, Jamima, if you would do the honors and tell us where we're going to be. Tell everybody where we're going to be in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yes, so we're actually going to be spread around lots of different regions. So to kick things off, I thought we'd focus on the North American events. So our CEO, Ian Gotts, he's always speaking at Dream-In events and lots of the Salesforce events. So he will be speaking at True North Dream-In in Vancouver, Tahoe Dream-In, and Southeast Dream-In. So I'm sure you guys already know, we've been doing a lot of great stuff working together with Salesforce Professional Services and developing a standardized approach to building agents. So that's something that Ian's going to be touching on during his sessions. So those are the North American events. And then Robert, if you wouldn't mind skipping to the next slide.
Yep.
So lots of world tours happening. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see Rachel, yourself, and the rest of the Stretch team in Oslo for Oslo World Tour. So really, really excited about that. And actually we'll be presenting alongside, I believe, Joachim, Rachel. So Joachim and Toby will be presenting a session once again on building agents, and this time how to maximize agent adoption with proper documentation and minimized tech debt. And then on top of that, we'll be at Frankfurt World Tour. Oh, this is a bit too fast, Robert.
I'm sorry.
Frankfurt World Tour and Zurich World Tour. Now you can go.
Okay.
And then we've got lots happening in London. So we've got a very nice array of pictures of what I consider to be the best places to go in London, including the Emirates Stadium, which is home of Arsenal Football Club. So lots of things happening in London in the month of June. If you're going to be at any of these events, it'd be great to collaborate. So get in touch with us and hopefully we can do something together similar to what we're doing with Stretch. So we'd love to work with you. And that's all the events.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, Brooke has joined, I believe. And if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt or just post them in the chat window, and and Brooke will try to answer them. And of course, we could always schedule a follow-up meeting if you want to take a deeper dive into anything that we're talking about. And I'm sure some of you will have some questions about the CPQ features that we're about to release. So just to introduce this again, um, why Elements Cloud for CPQ? So the Salesforce CPQ configurations are pretty fragile, and a single change to a rule, a price book, or a calculation can ripple across your entire system, breaking workflows and creating costly pricing mistakes. I mean, that's one of the biggest risks is that you quote somebody a price and it's the wrong price, right? And nobody knows why. So with Elements, you can track the dependencies, troubleshoot at any errors, and confidently implement the CPQ changes. You could say goodbye to endless admin work and firefighting. And for our partners, it's something, that'll help you understand what you're walking into, right? So you'll have a better idea on if you're ever had experience walking into a CPQ configuration. You'll be able to diagnose the CPQ chaos quickly. You can deliver the value from day one, because the day that you are there, that you arrive, in minutes, you'll be able to diagnose their CPQ configuration and their pricing rules and reduce the risk before making changes, right? So, as with everything with Elements, you'll be able to accurately predict what the impact will be of the changes that you're making. And of course, you restore client confidence. Now, we're aware that CPQ will be retired at some point, but there are a lot of people that need to do some refactoring before they're even ready if they're going to migrate to the new Revenue Cloud solution. So we think that this is something that will really come in handy for our not only for your clients, but also for you if you're doing a lot of CPQ work and Revenue Cloud work. So, the again, just to reiterate the constant challenges, you try to implement it themselves. They weren't really quite sure. They had five rules doing the same thing. They need to know what hits when. It's not really nobody really understands what the sequence of the configurations are, or I'm sorry, the actions are, and the pricing rules and the guidelines and things like that. So this is something that's going to help you understand better. Of course, you're always still expected to deliver fast. So essentially, we're trying to turn that chaos into a competitive advantage, just as a feature, but also a skill that you'll be able to promote to your customers, that you have the know-how, you have the tools, you have the knowledge of how to actually accurately diagnose their CPQ configuration, and you could do it quickly. I'm going to demonstrate the quote line pricing logic, or the what we call the quote explorer, I'm sorry, the quote microscope, not the explorer, and the dependency analysis that we built into the metadata analysis. Okay, so I don't have a live environment to demonstrate this on, but I do have some recordings that are available, and we'll just go through some of these recordings, and I'll make notations about what's happening on the screen. So here we have a small example of the capability of including the CPQ metadata in the analysis on our platform. So now you can visibly see the dependencies and relationships of the record-based metadata, as well as the standard metadata dependencies. And in this image, we see the dependency tree showing the relationship between CPQ records, and in this case, the discounts schedule being used by the price dimension object, right? So now you'll be able to see the metadata that's stored, or the dependencies of the metadata that is stored in a record. Okay, something that is unique um, to us to be the ability to see that.
Robert, do you
So
mind if I interject for half a second?
sure, of course.
If you could go back to that previous slide. So we all know that CPQ is kind of unique in that configuration information is stored as records. So what's unique about this is that the record information is the metadata that governs a lot of what CPQ does. So record discount schedule 001 lives on the price dimension object. And it is being used by two other sets of records, the quality range and the feature test, right? Discount schedule is the name of the root item being consumed by these other things. So it helps you demystify how different changes are going to affect related components in CPQ, which goes a long way in taking the black box of how did I get that price or where's this discount coming from and making it a reality for you. So if you're going in to make a change, this is imperative. If you're thinking about migrating, understanding how the system is configured today so that you can reproduce the best qualities of it in some new CPQ platform, this is also essential. So it works both in daily administration as well as strategic planning and even cleanup initiatives, just showcasing what's actually going on when you click a button that has a discount affiliated with it. Where is it coming from? How would I reproduce the calculations?
Thank you, Brett. And as I mentioned before, this is now part of the metadata analysis. So everything that you can typically do with the metadata analysis, you could do with the CPQ record-based configuration in metadata. So going over to, I want to get rid of those. I'll stop this right now, actually. So what we're doing, because this is actually kind of a quick demo, let me get rid of, I want to erase the circles that I put up there, but I'm looking for my erasing tool. I don't see it. I'll leave them there for now. Um, what we're seeing right now is the was a short video of using code search in the metadata analysis to find hard-coded references to product codes and product names. So here, if I play this a little bit more, I'll stop it again. So finding hard code references, which is something that we all already do, you know, how to find a hard code references. We could do it by finding a specific string or the hard coded IDs. And in this case, we're going to search for a product code 002, E002, and it finds 4 matches. And the results will allow you to accurately gauge the level of effort. Where are these things found? And it's finding the string within the record-based. And I'm just going to show you another thing, another way to find the code here, but it's showing you the value where it's found in the record-based configuration. So this is now finding the specific string. So a product name is Elements Professional Edition. And now in this, you'll be able to, I'm going to stop the demo again, but now you can see again what the parent object is, what type of metadata it is. It's a record-based metadata. And here you can see all the information, all the properties essentially on the right panel that you would typically see for metadata analysis. Okay. And I'll stop there. If there's any questions or anything like that, feel free to post them in the chat and I'll
So
go on. Go
one of
ahead.
the use cases that came up was somebody needed to change the names of products. And they needed to find all the references that were baked into the CPQ config that referred to the specific text names of the products that they were going to be modifying. So this created a short list for them of the places that they needed to ensure they updated post name change so that the CPQ would continue to work. Historically, I don't know how many of you have had to suffer through that manually. It ain't pretty. So, this is the reason we join Elements is that all of the work that we know how to do, that we know how hard it is to do, that we know wastes an enormous amount of productivity time that we literally don't have time to waste, can be sped up so that you can get on to the real work, which is keeping the business aligned with the technology, or I should say the other way around, keeping the technology aligned with the business. You don't want to miss the opportunity to upgrade the product suite because it's too hard. And that's what this tooling is designed to do, is to expedite those routine processes that are essential to keeping the business at the forefront of its markets and pricing structures, et cetera, et cetera.
CPQ custom view of metadata for CPQ record-based metadata. So essentially, we've created CPQ records custom view, and just we're going to demonstrate how you could select that, and you could see now all your record-based metadata in the typical metadata view in the metadata dictionary. So not a lot more detail to show here, but just that they have the capability to see the full path of what not only the name of the metadata, but also what the root is, and all the way up to the pattern, what the object is, the record name, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's something, again, part of the regular metadata dictionary, and has all the capabilities that you would have for org analysis. Product name is here. So you can, of course, in custom metadata, configure the look and feel the way you like. And the next record-based metadata, this is, why is this not advancing to the next slide? Okay, here's what I wanted to demonstrate. This is great. So in this video, we're actually looking at a new feature that comes with the Elements App Exchange package, quote line microscope. So it allows users to generate a diagram of the price rule execution and price calculation. And in this case, we're generating a diagram for a specific quote line item. And it's great for troubleshooting, testing, and investigating how and why price rules execute. As we follow along, we're going to start with the quote line of a quote in the Salesforce CPQ app. As you can see, we're looking at this quote line, and we have the page layout, the typical quote components. And if I play this, we have a new button here called Create Diagram. So once we select Create Diagram, it's going to actually create in the background. You'll see a message when it's successfully created, and the red indicator on the notification. So you click on that, and it's going to show you the diagram that it's ready. It's going to give you that notification that it's ready, and it opens up to a new page, which has a few tabs on the top. And we're going to start on the quote line logs, and we can expand that, and we see here, if we have more than one, obviously there'll be a trail here, but you just click on the view diagram link on that quote line, and this is in dark mode. That's why it looks like it's black. But essentially, we've created this process diagram with the vertical swim lanes of when the calculations are triggered, essentially. So the sequence of what's happening is right here. And you'll be able to take a deeper dive to expose the actions that are part of each step. And we'll get into that in the next click, I believe. But again, this is something that's going to be stored in Elements as a diagram. And as you can see here, it goes into the different types of actions and rules that could be applied to this pricing calculation on the quote line, on this specific quote line. So what we're seeing right now is the activities that are used to, the activities and actions and rules that are used to calculate this specific price on this specific quote. So it's literally a microscope. You're literally drilling down into as much detail as you can to find out and investigate how that price was configured. I'll just continue playing through. And as we scroll down, you'll see that there's also, I believe this is an Apex trigger, and it'll show you the conditions and summarize the conditions of class as well here. It's part of the diagram that was created. So another demonstration. So essentially start again from the same place, the quote line microscope, and we can create the diagram create the diagram here. And again, it's going to show us when it's done. We click on the notifications. And now we've done a diagram for all active price rules. I'm going to show it again. Click on it to expand, or to expose the diagram. Very similar diagram. This one's a lot more uh, complex. Obviously, it's got a lot more steps, but it is for every price rule. So again, same logic, same approach. Swim lanes for when the event is triggered, and you could drill down on each activity box to see the details. And let's see. I think there's one more. No. Yeah, that was it. So that is your new superpower. That is your competitive advantage. That is the new skill that you can provide to your customers. You can walk into a broken CPQ org and have a visual diagnosis in minutes, literally, spot the conflicts and hidden automations before they cause damage. You guide your redesign, not just fix the symptoms, but see, now you could diagnose the entire CPQ configuration and see where the bodies are buried, so to speak. So, any questions before we wrap that up? Because we have 5 minutes left, and I do want to leave time for any general questions. So, if you have any specific questions or want to see a real live demo and take a deeper dive, we could definitely schedule some time with you to show that. Um, Somebody's in the waiting room. They're a little late, but make sure we send them the recording. But feel free to reach out to us directly and let us know what you think. And please respond. So we are looking for our feedback from our partners who have experience in this area. So we want to make sure that the value proposition is clear and impactful to you and doesn't resonate and align with your company's go-to-market strategy. Is this GTM, or I'm sorry, not GTM, is CBQ something that you're going to focus on at all to help companies prepare for transitioning to the new Revenue Cloud? And what would make it more compelling? What do you need to know, or what kind of message would you prefer to communicate to your customers that will resonate with them? So feel free to share that information on the on the chat, and let me know if you want to follow up with any more specific things. So we have about 5 minutes, and I did want to talk about also the new feature for process configuration mining.
Before we jump into that, there was a question from Rachel O'Brien on the availability of CPQ for consulting orgs. And the answer is that it is an upgrade. It's not going to be part of the standard consulting package. There remains to be some discussion had internally around whether the client will need to own the CPQ license or if it's something that the consultants can leverage independently. But either way, it's going to be a package add-on.
Right. Right. It's not going to be part of the basic fundamental package. It will be an add-on feature. Thank you. So again, something that's also going to be released in probably before May, but let's say May. We're going to release a beta. So if you want to participate in this, it's essentially a way for Elements to draw a process diagram from the existing org metadata. And there is a live demo here. Let me see if I could, hopefully everybody can see this. So if you go to our website, you could see, again, a recording of the demonstration of how you could actually build a diagram based on a process or something that has a life cycle, such as an opportunity. If you have a sales life cycle, a case life cycle, you go through an interview process, essentially a flow where you answer some questions about what it is that you want to see. It analyzes all your automations and configurations and then draws this type of diagram where you can see everything that's related to an object. It'll show you all the configurations, all the metadata nodes that are related to that activity, and put the activities in the right sequence as well. So the workflow steps, automations, et cetera, et cetera. So this is, again, what we consider a game changer, and it will be released soon. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but if you want to take a deeper dive, again, let us know. And, just to summarize, we do have a couple minutes left. New feature highlights. So I won't drain this slide, but we talked about CPQ analysis and quote line microscope and the process configuration mining. We do have lots of other features that we're also going to release within the next 30, 60, 90 days. So look out for more communications. Please, when we follow up, we send an email out with the recording. Please respond to the survey and let us know if this is useful for you and if you got some useful information. And let's go. We have a couple minutes left, so if there's any other questions or if there's anything that you would like to see, just let me know now. But thanks again for participating.